Hello, and welcome back to the More Than Mindset show. So, I have been talking about creating and kind of making things up as you go. And that is what today's show is about. I was talking to a client and we were talking about holistic wellness and self-healing and just basically self-empowerment modalities. And this word came out and it kept coming up through the conversation. And I was like, wait a minute, I wonder what that word means. And so I took a moment, as I always do, and looked it up. And this was so fun, but it wasn't there. There was no such word. Well, you guys know, somebody said it. Anyone who listens to your podcast, Kim, knows that you kind of slaughter the English language. So I guess this is another one of those times. So I want to tell you about the word. It is wholetality. 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 And I sat with this word since there wasn't a definition. And I just, I really went inside and sat with what could this mean in the way that I was using it. I even asked ChatGPT, where do words come from? And I'll tell you a little bit about that. But in the meantime, let me get to the definition of this word. So as I sat with it and really felt into wholetality in the way that I was using it in this conversation was the sum of all, total wholeness, a whole being, mind, body, soul, energy, and everything that ever was, is, and will be. Isn't that a beautiful word? I thought it was such a delicious, yummy word that I kept it, put it in my own dictionary, and even defined it. And that is what it means to me. I'm curious, does it mean anything to you? Have you ever made up words? Something that you just couldn't find a way to explain something? And so maybe a new word came out of you, right? So when I asked ChatGPT, where do words come from? It said, invention and creation. Some words are consciously created, often to name ideas, technologies, or concepts, like robot or internet. Some inventors even name things after themselves, like sandwich was from Earl of Sandwich. Number two, borrowing. Many words come from other languages, especially as cultures interact. English, for example, borrows Latin, Greek, French, incorporating words like piano or cafe. Number three was the modification of existing words. I have for sure done that. I've brought like two or three words together and made one. So as a modification, words are often formed by adding prefixes, suffixes, or combining two words into one, like airport or sunflower. Over time, this creates new words while keeping elements of the originals. Number four, oh lordy, onomatopoeia. Don't know how to say that. Some words come from sounds like buzz or bang, which imitate what they represent. This helps the language reflect our natural environment. And number five was evolution over time. This is all coming from ChatGPT, by the way. Languages naturally evolve, so words change in meaning, pronunciation, and form. For instance, nice once meant foolish or simple, but now it means pleasant. Ultimately, words are created and evolve to suit human needs, reflecting our culture, history, and imagination. Well, that's kind of where I feel like it came from. It's like in between the invention and creation, a little bit of borrowing from a couple of other words that were modified, and then evolving to use it in the meaning or way that I wanted to use it in this circumstance. So I hope you like it. I wanted to name the show Wholetality, but then I was like, it's kind of bad on the SEO if it's not in the dictionary yet. So maybe it's slang, maybe it's Cajun, maybe it's Kimism, who knows? But to me, it's a very beautiful word that summarizes the wholeness of all, the total, the sum of our beingness. not just here on planet Earth, but our whole beingness, like the planets and the cosmos. And I like really geek out on this word. Ah, so excited about it. I hope we can come up with some visuals. If any of you have ideas, I would love to hear from you. You can just email kim@kimguillory.com or find me on social and let me know what you think about it. So Caitlin, Sonia, and I were on the call together whenever this came up, and we were talking about Ayurveda, and she and I are doing some work together. So I've encouraged Caitlin to modernize or use Ayurveda in the modern society, like ways that people can adapt or adjust to it. And she's like the purist of Ayurveda. She's like been studying this her whole adult life. I've been studying Ayurveda since 2012. I was in school for at Institute of Integrative Nutrition when I first heard about it in 2012, becoming a health coach, certified health coach. And then later in yoga teacher training, it was introduced again. And that's where I really began to fully understand, integrate, and embody. Like Ayurveda is like the medicine along, like according to yoga, right? It's like the medicine of yoga. It's understanding the mind and the body and food or nutrition as medicine on how to heal or treat the body, the mind, like understanding ourselves on a very deep level. And so I thought Wholetality would be a beautiful summary of mind body coaching, understanding the way your brain works, the way the mind works, your emotion works or don't work together, like the lack of integration, the lack of connectivity, right? It's when you really understand parts of our body and brain and beingness, when you really understand the mechanisms or the mechanics and how they are working together or working against each other, this word compiles all of that into one way of beingness, which is wholeness. And so the things that we put in our mind, the things that we take in through our eyes, the things that we taste or take in through our mouths, the way that we move with other people in our environment and planet Earth and the seasons, like all of this. And I've asked Caitlin to come on for us to do another show. If you guys go and look back, we've done several other episodes together that kind of touch on mind, body, along with Ayurveda and other modalities that she and I have both studied together. So for me personally, this is a inner journey that I am now going on as I am now 56 years old. And my intention is to reverse some of the aging process that I am now experiencing. So I've called on Caitlin and said, hey, I would like to take Ayurveda a little bit deeper and understand some things that I haven't implemented. So for those of you who are familiar with Ayurveda, it's complicated or it can be complicated. And the more you study yoga and self-healing and some of these philosophies, the deeper you can go, but the further away you get from your family and friends and environments where you live, because it's so different. It's like massive, but there's not really a place for it. And I would like us to create a place for it where we can bridge ourselves, our understanding, our soul, as well as the medicine of nutrition and food, what we put in our mind, what we put in our body, how we move through the world. And that's something that I committed to recently. I was noticing or sensing this sort of dissatisfaction or struggle in my work that I had not noticed before. I don't know that it was an extreme that I went one way or the other, but suddenly I noticed when I started helping coaches and business owners make more money that I was battling this unseen force, which is the anti-money makers, the healers that don't want to confront some of these money issues. And it often felt like I was struggling or fighting with this force that we couldn't see. but I can sense and I could hear some of the beliefs and understanding. And I was like trying to like get my clients to understand and see it. And some of that stuff got knocked out of proportion. And anyway, I've just decided maybe I can do this. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to battle against that very strong force. I don't need to. It's not my issue. It's not my thing. And I'm not here to convince anyone to do anything. If they don't feel worthy of monetizing on planet Earth, that's up to them. I do. And I believe people who bring service and value to the world, I think they are entitled to that. I do not think everyone is entitled to it. I do believe that there is an exchange. And the more we try to give to those who are not willing to commit to that exchange or whatever it takes in order to make the changes. It's very clear. It's very obvious when someone is not committed and when you are like trying to coerce them into change and they don't want it. They're not agreeing to it. They're not committed and it's very uncomfortable. So all of that brought me back to myself. And I'm actually considering, I'm not sure where the next show will come from. This should be episode 300, which I feel is the totality of what has been and also what will be and all that is. And so I think it was a perfect one. I did try to get a couple of people to come on with me and record it so that it wouldn't be just me, but it didn't happen. And this goes out next week. So here I am. So I'm going to an event that I am presenting this coming weekend in Dallas, and I'm debating if I'm going to go in the van so that I can continue treading my way up to Oregon is calling me. It's very fascinating. This keeps coming up. I have a friend there. Matter of fact, it's kind of funny because the clients and friends that I have in that area, it is Sarah and Sandra and Angela. So they all end in a and I was like, what are these us calling me to? But they're all in that area. And so I was thinking of this when I was walking to the mailbox and I was thinking about posting it. And I was like, that's crazy. And then I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they were talking about these spheres that are on planet Earth. And there was the two places where they cross over is in Washington and Louisiana. And I'm like, okay, for God's sakes, how many more signs will I hear? And then this morning, my first call of the day was a client who asked to come an hour later because she had gone out of town and for a wedding, for an event, and she was in that same area, Washington, Oregon. And I was laughing. I was like, okay, God, universe, source, people, I got it. I got the message. I'm coming. So we will see where this word and this new adventure take me. We'll find out. You can follow me on social. I'm not sure if I'll be posting as I'm moving along, but I'm already committed to doing this event. It is a business and wealth conference that's all about real estate and investment and creating wealth. And I am part of we'll be in a panel and then we'll be doing questionnaire and presentations and stuff on how to be more successful at your business and then how to invest in a way that your money is earning more money than you could possibly make with time and energy and effort on planet Earth. So that's speaking my language. If we were looking at my human design, I'm cross of the plane. I think it's cross of the plane too. And that's kind of my job here is to build the bridge between the people and what they are materializing and monetizing on planet Earth. Like it's a cool thing. And so what I like to look at is who are you and the value that you bring to the world as yourself and really understand the importance of what I'm saying. There is no other being like you. There's no other being like you. So you have to discover this essence of yours and the value that you bring to the planet, that you bring to society, that you bring to your environment. I'm super passionate about this. And that is the totality of your beingness. And can you imagine if all the beings on planet Earth were all being whole in their total selves, in their wholeness, and bringing that? Could you imagine how beautiful our world would be? Where there wouldn't be envy and jealousy and judgment and comparison. It would just be beingness of totality. Like if we were to get a group of us in a room, like imagine 6 of us coming together in a room, which is something I'm putting that petition out, 6 to 10 people coming together in a mastermind type setting where you bring your brilliance and I bring mine and someone else brings theirs. And the group creates this totality of all the different maybe it's the different designs, maybe it's the different skill sets, the different ways of being, the different levels of consciousness, but we bring it all together for the goodness of all. Like that is something that I crave. But right now, I am looking to dissolve some of these habitual patterns that I have been locked in that's keeping me in this state of being that I am in right now. So I've been talking about this for the last 3 months or so. My friend Sarah would tell you it's been 2 years that I've been saying I'm going to go back there, and she's probably right. So I am taking the show on the road. So I will be doing tours, we'll be doing events, and combining different self-healing modalities, which is all about self-reliance, self-dependency, and for the wholeness of all. Like this is not like a selfish act. It is about becoming all that you are so that you can contribute in a different way that doesn't cost you. It was starting to feel like it was costing me physical energy. It was costing me vitality. It was costing like my energy was low. I was having to summon this energy to come and fight off these unseen forces in order to get people to release it. But the problem is they weren't as committed to releasing it as I was. So you can see the problem, right? So that's it. That's where I'm at. I hope you enjoyed this. I am definitely back at just like downloading on the mic and whatever comes through. I'm having some really cool ahas, you could call them, this morning. Like I'm brushing my teeth and I hear this same beautiful voice that guides me and has been my entire life. And it says this phrase. I don't like really want to say like download, but I'm not sure what else to call it. And it's explore everything, attach to nothing. Now, being a 6-2 in human design, a 6-2 emotional generator, that speaks directly to me and my beingness. So it may not land for others, but it landed for me. Explore everything. Like I have been sitting and binging on TikToks in this same area up north, up there. I mean, I could see myself going to Seattle and taking a train to Vancouver and Vancouver Island. Like it's like explore everything. What is uncovered? What is unseen? What is unexperienced for me? Discover, explore. Like that's what's calling me right now. And so I've kind of like gotten myself out of like I've been moving into long-term containers where I serve for a long time. I'm not feeling that anymore. Right now, I'm doing some advanced coach trainings. And so I have my integrative mind body coach certification that happens every week. And that's a year-long mentorship. But this other thing that I wanted to add on the back end of it, which was more like an alumni and a continued education for coaches, I do not feel like an all-inclusive thing would serve us right now. And so I'm doing it basically as a one-off. So you'll see whenever I have time or when I have energy or when it feels correct, I'll just put something out there. Like this week, I'll be doing a 2 hour. Sometimes it'll be a 4 hour. Sometimes it'll be an all day. Maybe it'll be a weekend. Sometimes it'll be a 1 hour. And so if you see those, matter of fact, you should be following me on social media if you're interested at all, because it's probably where I posted, and make sure you get on the email list. And I will just put it out there and it'll be a one-time fee, anywheres from $27 to $97. And I'm just going to do open mic coaching. And then I will not just coach you or whoever is getting coached. I will also teach and explain where I'm getting that from and how you can use it in your own practice. And so I'm really excited about this. It feels exciting and interesting. I've never seen it done before. And so I get to create it kind of like I'm creating words like wholetality. So if you are listening to this and you love the word, hashtag wholetality, tag me, hashtag wholetality on social media, and let me know what it means to you. If that resonated, if it was congruent for you to the word. If it's just silliness, but then I doubt if you would be listening to this, and you surely wouldn't have listened to the whole show to this point, because I'm really curious to see what everyone else is experiencing and exploring right now, because I see a theme. And I tend to be ahead of themes, which is something that has been very painful up until now. But I see the data and the patterns. And now I understand, like, I could go ahead and put this out there. Like, if you go and listen to the podcast 2 and 3 years ago, it's stuff people are talking about today. So I'm going to go ahead and trust this little inkling, this little hits. I'm going to put it out. And I would love to hear what you're experiencing. All right. Have an amazing week. I look forward to seeing where I'm going.